Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom. This is RGR Football. I'm Ryan, and this is me going rogue on the Kansas City Chiefs against the NFL, is the way we'll put it this week, because all eyes were on the Kansas City Chiefs as they took on the Tampa Bay Bucs and old Tom Brady. A lot happened, and we're going to take a look by the numbers, each specific section that they had to get done. If you're new to this channel, make sure you click the like and the sub and the bell notification so you find out what else is going on. As the Chiefs get ready to run this back through the run it back season, there's going to be a lot to look at. And we take a look at stats, film, all kinds of information all week long. You'll have the breakdowns post-game. You'll have the game plans pre-game. You'll have a tailgate video over the weekends. There's all kinds of stuff going on this channel, and welcome to all of you. For you members, you know all of this, and we will continue to have the members-only content to go through some of the deeper dives on some of these things. But today, what we have to take a look at is what changed. Now, this was a defense that the Kansas City Chiefs were ready to go against, but this was a highly taunted defense that they had maybe their toughest mark to the season to try to get over this hump of playing against the Bucs. Very good defense. They're going to see another one with the Saints here in a little bit. But in the meantime, I think not only did the explosion of Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill surprise some people, a lot of other things did too, and there's plenty to look at in the numbers as we go through them. We're going to start where we always do, and that's how efficient that offense was. And this was the peak of their season to this point in terms of offensive output. And that was 7.5 yards per play against the Tampa Bay Bucs, against the top defense in the league. That is impressive. This was a huge jump from the prior week as well. You know, the Raiders have the Chiefs' number in a number of different ways. And what they were able to do is jump that yards per play number up over a yard 1 week to the next. That's significant. A lot of that goes about how the defense chose to play, because a little bit of overproduction, overconfidence in being able to single up on the Chiefs receivers, play single high, that certainly played into that portion of what the Chiefs were able to do. Now, the next piece is one that we look at also very often, one of the few that we're going to see some red numbers, some negatives here, and that is because this takes a look at the overall efficiency of the offense at a higher level. And this, again, comes from playing a premier defense that, you know, despite having your explosive plays from Mahomes and Hill and Kelsey, as well as a number of other contributors that made some yardage, made some first downs. There was a healthy number of those in this particular game. You have to understand that a premier defense like that is going to have their drives as well. And when it comes down to is a season low for the Chiefs, dropping another 11% in their efficiency on a per drive basis. And that is that they only scored on 5 of their 11 drives. And of that, they did produce 3 TDs, 2 field goals. Not quite the 5 for 5 that they were out of 9 drives last week. And that actually feeds into this number. Overall, the efficiency is still there, but definitely shows the level of competition that the offense is facing when you see these numbers. And how they get there is often something that plays into what you're getting out of your rookie class. And we're going to see more of this as we take a look at just how many free agents the Chiefs are going to have coming up in the next offseason, as well as the drop in the salary cap. It's even more important to get as many snaps as you can for your rookie class. And this is something that I've been tracking all season. And for those of you who've seen these before, you know that this is a pretty big number. They've only broken 200 one time. And to see the rookies start to climb back in and provide more snaps actually helps the overall health of this roster in terms of longevity, not necessarily this game or this week or the coming month. But that's going to be important going forward as they try to get to the point where this run-it-back season can become a run-it-back dynasty. Now, the thing that everyone is concerned about this week is something that I track every week as well, and you all know that. But the pressure rate is important. And this was a drawback. This was trouble only producing 13 total pressures, according to PFF, on 42 dropbacks. That is not what you're looking for. Yes, there's a lot of moving in the pocket, pushing the pocket, but that doesn't necessarily equate to a pressure. A pressure is generally defined as something where you move the quarterback off of his spot so that he has to change his delivery, delay his delivery, something that affects the quarterback in trying to make an attempt. That's what this definition is. And while you might have seen a lot of holding, you might have seen a lot of things that look like the pocket is collapsing. That's not necessarily a pressure in its true definition. So that said, the 13 pressures, we'd like to see more of that, but it was a competitive game. It was a physical game, and we all know what happened at the end in a little back and forth for contact with the quarterback. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. This is a rate that we need to see come back up pretty quickly here as they face the Broncos, who the quarterback question is going to be huge, and then later as they face the Saints, depending on who's going to be at QB in that game. Now, that said, one thing that really dropped off well, and I was very happy to see, is probably the most frustrating stat for any defense is the number of missed tackles. And while they spiked last week against the Raiders, it fell dramatically, and they did a very good job against the Tampa Bay Bucs. And dropping 9, that's very significant, but this is back in the range. 3 is a pretty low number. You're going to have a couple of games no matter what, even if you're a good defense. But 5 or less you can live with, and certainly 3 is a number that you feel you can get consistent wins with, and that's what's going to be important. So let's hope that they can get to this level and sustain it, because that's going to be important going forward as they face some skill players that are going to be a little bit more difficult to tackle. That they're going to have some coverage issues that I think they're going to have unique combinations for how to address. And the missed tackle thing is going to be very important. And that said, when we go back and look at the thing that really stands out, and again, not the greatest pressure game, but the conversion of pressure is what you have to look at secondarily. And this is something that I've been talking about for the last few weeks, because it started to show up in the stats as well as how well you're affecting the quarterback. Pressure is great. Pressure is the more important stat versus, say, sacks. But in a game, especially with a less than mobile quarterback, the key is making contact, roughing him up, knocking him around. It doesn't mean that you have to sack him all the way to the ground. Contact, a hit on a quarterback, is enough to change the way that he plays, whether it's dropping his eyes for some of the younger guys or rushing some throws like we saw with Tom Brady. The contact itself is what changes the quarterback play more dramatically than simply having to move off of his spot in a classic pressure. And that's something that the Chiefs did dramatically better. While they got more total pressures against the Raiders, they only hit him once against Derek Carr in week 11. In 12, they didn't get home as much. They didn't pressure as much, but they made contact a lot more, 54%. So more than half of their recorded pressures resulted in hitting the quarterback. And that is a great stat. If you can do that consistently, you are going to change the way teams can play you, especially when they're in a situation where they have to throw the ball and they have to try to catch up because of what the offense is doing. This all sets up the defense to be in a better position. They need to continue to get creative. They have to realize that if they can get 4 to get pressure, that's great. If they have to get creative and they have to send 5, it's not the optimal, but you have to get the pressure. I look for more zone blitzes, to tell you the truth, to try and keep that number down at 4 rushers, and I think that's going to help them in the future. We'll have to see. Now, if you agree, I want to know down in the comments what you think and what stands out to you about these stats, as well as if you are new, make sure you click the like and the sub and the bell notification. We have more coming for you. We have film later this week. We have game plan for the next game, and we will have pre-game aptitude tests for what we think needs to go on. So thank you for checking this one out. We appreciate your time, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.